So, Jay, I have another question that some people may not like, but is perfectionism secretly caused by the patriarchy?
No, it's a good question. It's a good question.
Thanks.
And it's interesting considering everything we just talked about blame, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the ways perfectionists self-sabotage is by institutionalizing their problems and their issues.
So they put their problems and their issues in the mental hospital?
No, it's when you turn something into a monolithic, all-powerful institution. Instead of saying...
Like, damn the man?
Yeah, kind of. When criminals blame the man for everything, they lose all power and control. Instead of saying, I should plan my getaway better, or choose a better gang, or plan my crimes better, they just say, oh, the man, what can you do?
Right.
Because it's a giant institution, unbeatable.
Okay.
This is a secret way people self-sabotage themselves. They do it all the time. Oh, this is an institutional problem. And we'll get into that. But first, let's look at one of the main roots of perfectionism. So many women are given the message that they need to be a good girl. Where does this message come from? Out of thin air?
I want to say, like, the media and our governments. But I don't think that's correct. Like, that was my knee-jerk action, is to say that, but I don't really know.
Sure, but you don't think this starts with the home and the parents? Mom doesn't want you to be a good girl. Dad doesn't want you to be a good girl.
Yeah, yes. We're told to be good girls when we're young, so that we follow directions, and so we're not too loud, and we don't get in the way, and we listen.
Right. Are you ever told to be a perfect little angel?
Yes.
A perfect princess?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So is this more from the mom, or more from the dad, or from both, or what?
It's both.
So then is it the patriarchy that's spreading this good girl message?
No, I think it's parents.
But both sexes, both genders.
Both genders, yes.
I mean,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. Mom and dad. Yes. Or mom and mom, and dad. Either way, whoever's raising you, I think, or maybe not so much now, but before, yes.
Right. And if you don't be that good girl, do you start to fear abandonment and lack of validation and not being good enough and failing to be positive and happy all the time?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's taking me a second to answer because I'm sitting here in shock. I never, ever considered that.
Doesn't the chain go, be a good girl? If you're not, you're going to be abandoned, and you're going to lack of support and no validation, and you're going to get mistreated and unloved and all this stuff. So the coping mechanism is to become a perfectionist, because then all of those things go away.
Yeah. The point is like, I never ever considered that this came from anyone else other than me, really, to be honest with you. I mean, yes, okay, trauma issues and blah, blah, blah things. Fuck my parents. I love you, Mom and Dad.
Your dad wasn't even around, right?
It was like on the fringes of my life.
I'm saying, so it wasn't the patriarchy or the patriarch of the family that was causing it in your case. So I don't know, right? Is it the patriarchy? Is it not? It looks like both parents in most cases. The message of being a good girl leads directly to perfectionism in most cases. So whether your perfectionism comes from friends, family, peers, society, the patriarchy, the matriarchy, some other archy, whatever. Just like in the last question, doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
Like, are we going to accomplish something here, nitpicking where it came from for you or where it came from for your friend?
No.
Right.
No.
The point is we all ended up perfectionists somehow, and it's not serving us.
No.
And we got to change this.
Agreed. Well, that's what we're doing, making this video, is to help you guys and myself to stop self-sabotaging our life with perfectionism.
Absolutely. But to change something is an interesting thing. A lot of people try to change things but fail. So let me ask you, what is easier to change? Something that is part of the institution and part of the system and just part of the regime and that I have no control over, or some bad personal habits I picked up, and just like any habits, I can change them with practice.
Yeah, changing my habits with practice.
Yeah. So if you call perfectionism an institutionalized problem that was put on you by the patriarchy, and they're the ones who pull the strings and they control your perfectionism, and you're just a victim at its mercy,
Ew.
How are you going to change something?
No, absolutely not. I'm not a victim of anyone or anything. But you're right. And if I've institutionalized it as the patriarchy, then it feels more difficult to change.
It doesn't just feel more difficult. It's pretty much impossible.
Yes.
Every cell in your body knows it can't change institutional problems.
Right. Yeah.
But every cell in your body also knows it can change individual problems.
Yes.
So if your perfectionism is an individual problem, some bad habits you picked up, or some habits that served you for a time and protected you from abandonment when you're young, but now you don't need. As long as your cells know that's the situation, as long as they see it that way, as long as your mind and heart see the situation that way, you can change that. That's very changeable.
Agreed. Totally agree. 100%.
So this is a secret way people self-sabotage, right? My perfectionism is an institutional problem. Well, it's a write-off. I'll be like this forever. No point trying.
Yeah.
Or
patriarchy.
Or meanwhile, a much more empowering option is, you know what? I don't know how I got this. Can't pin it down. Don't really care. I do have some perfectionist tendencies and habits, and it's definitely an individual thing that I can work on. I can certainly change my own perfectionism. I've changed lots of things in my life. I used to be afraid of swimming. Now I get in the water. I used to be afraid to go to networking events. Now I network. I used to not do X, and now I do X. I used to avoid Y, and now I do Y. I used to be a perfectionist. Now I focus on progress. I'm a healthy idealist. It's doable, but not if you institutionalize it.